The long-awaited, much-anticipated Fire in the Lake showed up at the house, and we're going to give it the run-through. I'll say right off the bat, this is my most anticipated game of the year. I played it at Consum World Expo this summer and have been waiting to get my grubby little paws on it ever since. I'm a big fan of the Coin series, big fan of Vietnam war games, Match Made in Heaven. This is a game designed by Volko Runke and Mark Hermann, produced by GMT Games. So I have done videos on two of the other three coin games, Andean Abyss, the first one, and Distant Plain. I haven't done Cuba Libre. I don't own it, and I won't own it. I enjoy it, but I don't need to own it. I have a friend who has it. I really like playing it. It's a shortish version, and it's easier to teach. But this one, I know already. I like it the best. I've played it before, so this isn't going to be an impartial review about what I think about the game. I already know I like it. This is going to be kind of an intro and a playthrough. I'm not going to cover really the basics. Volko and Mark did a video kind of covering how you play it. I just wanted to document my first time through and talk about it a little bit. Maybe kind of expose some different people if you're not already looking at it. So it's a game modeling the military and political actions during the American War in Vietnam. There are four factions. We have the VC, the Viet Cong, the NLF as blue. It is a little bit strange that they're not black, but I think maybe black wouldn't show up as well. And also their flag is red and blue, but they're typically kind of portrayed as black. So it's different. It's nice. It's appreciated. It's just, it takes me a minute to remember. Red is the NVA. Brown is the coalition forces. Not called the coalition. It's the U.S. forces, but it is the coalition. So Anzac and ROC forces are modeled in here. And then we have the ARVN, the Republic of Vietnam. ARVN, but there's also RVN police. So these are not troops. So you see these orange cubes on the map, those are police. And there's not you can't see the huge difference. It's actually, you can see it more in real life. Yeah, that's all I'm really going to talk about how you play the game. The game comes with 3 scenarios. You can play a short, medium, or long scenario. The short one is 65 to 67. The short is, I think, 68 to 69, something like that. 68 to 72. And the long is 64 to 72. And it's pretty cool. The cards have on them the years, so this is only used, well, you can use whatever cards you want. You can just shuffle the deck and then create the cards that you're going to play with, but these are included if you want more historical events taking place. So you're not going to see any 65 cards in here because I'm playing with them, but they are. Here's the rest of them. So we have, no, they're not in there. Anyway, you have cards for 64, 65, and 68 for the different campaigns, which is a neat option. And then we have coup cards here. These are like propaganda cards. They're the scoring cards. Here's the 65 cards. So we're all set up for the short campaign. Wanted to do the short one to get one play in as soon as possible, now that I own it. And I'm going to actually try to play it again next week. So our first card is going to be Search and Destroy, which means the US are up. And the next one is Draft Dodgers. So you can see here, these are 1965 cards. So the US is going to get to go, and then the VC is going to get to go. This is probably an event that the US will take. Yep. Because getting that early is going to give them a lot of capabilities going forward. So they'll do that, and then the VC is going to get to do something. So this event wouldn't do any good for the VC. So they just took their turn on this one. They end up moving here. What they did was what often happens early in the game. They rallied, getting more guerrillas on the map, and then they taxed, which lost them some support, but it gained them 2 money on the turn instead of costing them 4. So we'll clean these up. These are just used to mark what happens. So now Draft Dodgers comes up, and the NBA is going to get to go first on this one. These guys move here, and they're eligible. NBA gets to decide what they're going to do. The NBA did a rally and an infiltrate, which let them put some cubes on the board. The cubes are their regular troops, and these cylinders are still guerrillas. So the troops are more powerful, but the guerrillas are still needed. They serve their purpose. So the Arvin player is up. Doesn't see anything. They could do the event on here. There's nothing that they especially need to do right this second. Don't want this event. They're first up on this event, and that's pretty powerful. So they're going to pass, and they get 3 resources. 1, 2, 3. They've passed. These come eligible, and they are going to take this event, which is a momentum event. And until the coup card, Assault and Patrol add +3 to aid per guerrilla removed, and is free. So they're going to take that. So it didn't last very long. No, I guess they don't have to take it yet. They get to see this first. Yeah, there's no reason for them to take this event now. So they have to decide what to do. So the Arvin decided just to sweep into here, activating these guys. They probably could have just done that with 2, so we'll do it with 2. Now their special activity, what they're going to do is raid. And to raid, they move a guerrilla in, and then it removes 2 enemy pieces. So they're going to do that here and here. This goes in. 2 enemy pieces are removed. Bases are last. What that does is gives coin control here, here, and here. There are a couple other spaces they could have taken control, but they couldn't have gotten to 51. So it didn't really make much of a difference. This just cost them 1 for a net of, let's see, I think 5 population. 2 there. Oh, that's why they moved 3 in, so that they could take control. So that's total 4. It's 5 there. This goes up 5. They need another 7 to get there. Now the US is up, and they get a limited operation, or they could pass. Because there's really not much they want to do, but they'll take a look at it. Quick correction for this space, that the Arvin did a sweep. We're in a monsoon season right now, so sweeps are not allowed. So I corrected that. I also said they only paid 1 for this. The Arvin pays 3 to do anything, so they did pay 3. Now the US is going to train just to try to get some more guys on the board. It's interesting, their train doesn't pull guys from the troops. It's only irregulars or Arvin pieces to to pull ARVN pieces, they have to pay for it. The irregulars they can bring in for free because they're training. But they're doing that so that they can advise, which will get them more resources at the end of the turn. So, and it just needs to be in spaces with US pieces. So they can do it in Saigon, which will cut patronage. And maybe they'll do it in Pleiku here. So they did that twice. Now they can pay to pacify. Neither of those, well, so that costs 3. 1, 2, 3, and since they did it in Saigon, they get to cut. Oh, that's an ore. So this is more important right now. So active support goes up 1 on the board here. And actually, no, they wanted to advise, they can't advise because they're just on that. So now it's the coup round. Nobody's in their victory conditions. First, I guess we need to do this. ARVN removes 1 in 3 of its cubes per space, rounded down, placed below. So this goes in under the ARVN leader. So we'll take care of that. So the coup things are going to end up reorganizing. People are going to get resources. And then we'll continue. So our first card after the first coup, the VC went and just did a train to protect their base here. They wanted to terrorize, but that base, losing it would kind of be a key loss for them. The US passed to get the resources, knowing that the ARVN was up next. The ARVN's looking at this card. They can pass. Since the VC only did an operation, there's only a limited op up, so it might be worth passing that on to the NVA, because this, even though they don't want the event, if the VC or the NVA get to take this event, that's pretty powerful. The US will be eligible, and so they could stop it, but they might end up passing just so that they can act on this card. So they'll do that. That gets them 3 resources. And the NVA is up. They are going to move, and they get a limited op. They might go ahead and attack. Got some forces up there, pretty vulnerable. So per 2 NVA troops, they get to remove 1 enemy. So they'll go ahead and do that in Quang Tri. That removes these guys. The ARVN have no bases on the map. And that costs them 1 resource. So they're firmly ensconced there. They can start picking off space as they go along. I really like playing the NVA. They have both types of troops. It's kind of a struggle to get, or they have troops and guerrillas. They have both types of units. It's kind of a struggle sometimes to get the cubes on, but I really like how they move through Cambodia and Laos. They're very flexible, but they're also very vulnerable. These troop cubes can just be taken off. You don't have to find them first because they're out in the open trying to fight conventional war. So I really like playing them. They get to do some interesting things. Enough about my communist propaganda. We'll move to the next card. No worries about event taking here, and the US isn't first up on the next card, so they might just go ahead and let the ARVN do something and then pass. so that they can get their patents. Although, oh, this is capability, yeah. So the lowlands, there's not many of them. There's these spaces here, and then the space here. They're not super popular. Well, I guess there's some population here, so maybe this is worth having, just so that they can have that. And also, if the NVA get RPGs, that's not good. So I'm gonna stop showing every card, but so on this one, the Arvin is going to act, the US will pass, and then take this event. We'll leave it at that. We'll probably come back at another coup. We're 5 cards in out of 24, so trucking along. This is a pretty cool event. Both of these are good for the NVA. It's interesting. Usually they're fairly balanced, one way or the other. This is both good for the NBA. So they took the event. They actually took the shaded event, merged in here, merged into Quangnam and into Hui, and they get 1 free either op or special activity. Thought about doing the special activity of Bombard, which is a really cool activity, but I think they're just going to attack, which lets them remove 1 enemy per 2 troops. So there's 4 here. They get to remove 2. Here they're going to have to activate these guys and roll, since they're guerrillas. And they need to roll less than 3 to remove these police. Oh. They did not do that. Crap. Got stuff all over the place now. And then in here, here. So they're going to remove 2 using these 4 guys from the NV or from the Arvin, 1 US troop, and it actually removes 1 of theirs. So the US troop goes into the casualties. This just goes back to the available. So there's some attrition there, but potentially powerful. Might have made more sense for them to just remove the Arvin, because then they would still have 6 here, and then they would have control. Actually, yeah, let's do that. They'll save the Wrath against the US for a little bit later. Oh no, it's still... Yeah, no. Yeah.